If we want to start changing many things in our lives, we first need to realize that beauty is not just a facial appearance, but essentially the way our energy is reflected outward. Because I can comfortably say that when a woman raises her energy, she actually begins to look different to those around her, and the line created by her posture, the rhythm of her breathing, and even the elegance of her voice begin to take on a much more attractive meaning. The points and habits I will share with you today are actually practices that will trigger this transformation and have a very powerful effect. These are not just beauty secrets. They are also some of the most important steps a woman can take to become aware of her own potential. Before moving on to the first point, I would like to ask you to do something very small. Write, "I am raising my energy again," in the comments. The reason for writing this is not just to form a normal sentence, but to set your intention as the first step in preparing your mind for transformation. And you know very well that intention easily opens the door to change. And when you open that door, all habits start working much more powerfully. Let's start with the first point right away. 1. The benefits of a slow but determined posture that elevates feminine energy. I can comfortably tell you that posture is much more than just our body. It is a clear indicator, almost like an energy carrier. Therefore, a woman's posture has a much greater impact on the other person than any expensive cosmetic products she uses. Of course, you might think, training in a slow but equally determined posture not only physically aligns our spine, it also gives us the opportunity to rewrite the message we send to the world. Of course, slumped shoulders actually carry our suppressed emotions and the negativity that time has left on us, while an elevated chest, a slightly upturned chin, and feminine energy are like a symbolic representation of self-confidence. Of course, this restructuring may initially be perceived as merely an improvement in outward appearance. However, when we look at the essence of the matter, it is the first step in a major transformation that takes place at the level of identity. Furthermore, this posture practice is not a hasty movement. On the contrary, it progresses in harmony with the rhythm of our breath, like a silent dance of our body. With each breath we take, the slight lengthening of our spine, the gentle opening of our ribs, and especially the strength gained by our core, give our body a calm sense of grounding, saying, "I am here." Of course, this slow tempo is essentially the most effective and powerful aspect of posture training, because, as you know, anything done quickly reduces awareness. However, slow movements allow us to draw a new and solid posture map in our brains. Of course, this map also provides the opportunity for feminine energy to be reflected outward in a much clearer and more magnetic way. Looking at it from another angle, with this training, we also enter a process that provides emotional relief. You will appreciate that when our body collapses, our mind collapses too. When the body rises, the mind also rises much higher. Therefore, the shoulder opening movement often gives us the courage to let go of invisible burdens we have been carrying for years. Ultimately, I can say that posture training is definitely not age-related. It can be applied at 25, 50, or 60, and it truly has the same transformative effect at any age. This posture work, done with slow and steady steps, makes a woman not only much more aesthetically pleasing, but also incredibly powerful and deeply impressive. By the way, I know this is at least the third video you've watched on my channel, and it really saddens me that you're still not subscribed, because seeing you here, moving forward together on this journey, is very valuable to me. If you subscribe, you will be supporting me in the strongest way possible, and we will never lose each other. 2. Communication techniques with subtle and elegant hand movements. Although most of us don't really notice it, The fact is that a woman's hands speak long before her words do. What I mean is this: a woman with graceful, subtle, and especially controlled hand movements can easily regulate her aura and convey messages to the other person that are as soft as they are impressive. Of course, when a person speaks, we may perceive how they use their hands, how they position their fingers, or how they manage their gestures as small and insignificant details from the outside. But in the deeper layers of our consciousness, the feeling that this woman knows exactly what she is doing emerges clearly. I can comfortably say that elegance is not only related to beauty, it also manifests itself in the rhythm of movement, the delicacy of touch, and the conscious management of gestures. Therefore, the hand movements we make consciously become one of the most visible signatures of feminine energy. In addition, hand movements are like a secret means of communication that reshapes perception. For example, lightly gathering your fingers together while explaining something creates an elegant focus rather than drawing attention. Gently turning your palms upward conveys sincerity, and very slightly bending your wrist significantly increases the dose of femininity. None of these are artificial. On the contrary, they are micro-signals that reveal a woman's natural, calm, and mature energy. Over time, these micro-signals transform communication style and create a more charismatic, more impressive, and much more noticeable aura. Another aspect that makes this habit different from others is the powerful impression it leaves in social settings. A woman whose hands are not stiff and erratic when speaking, but rather flow like water, creates a natural fluidity in the environment, and this fluidity significantly increases the sense of trust around her. People feel more comfortable and secure around her and pay much more attention to what she says. This, in turn, makes that woman feel more confident and powerful, and there is a fact that elegance is, in essence, contagious. When a woman can easily convey her energy with her hands, the spirit of the environment she is in also begins to change rapidly. The tone of the conversation, the atmosphere she sits in, and even people's approach become much more valuable and aesthetic. 3. Having the habit of a neutral elegance face that softens facial expressions. Before starting this very important point, let me first state that sometimes the slightest harshness on a woman's face, even unconsciously, overshadows all feminine energy. The neutral elegance face comes into play precisely at this point. It is a discipline of elegance that neutralizes the face, softens harsh expressions, and eliminates all micro-tensions that put unnecessary strain on the muscles. Of course, this neutral yet impressive facial expression both reveals youthfulness and conveys the calmness within a woman's inner world. In fact, this technique is a sophisticated way to look more attractive without doing anything. Because when the face releases its tension, it carries its natural light much better. Now, I would like to point out that the most important benefit of this habit is that it reprograms the position of the facial muscles over time. People tend to frown, purse their lips, clench their jaw, or stiffen the area around their eyes when under stress. These constant micro-tenses cause lines to deepen over the years, making the face look tired and giving the overall expression a tense look. The neutral elegance face practice, on the other hand, sends a signal to the muscles to release unnecessary tension, rejuvenating facial expressions and giving the skin a smoother texture. Let's not forget that this softening even visibly slows down the aging process. Of course, there is also this. This practice not only beautifies the facial features, it also softens the person's energy. When a woman keeps her face stiff, she unconsciously sends a signal of withdrawal to those around her. In contrast, a neutral but elegant facial expression creates a magnetic warmth that draws people in. Naturally, This warmth is felt not through words, but entirely through the flow of energy. When a woman walks with a neutral, elegance facial expression, even the rhythm of the environment adapts to her calmness. People approach her more easily, listen more attentively, and show her greater respect. Because neutral grace is a soft but powerful form of authority, ultimately this habit makes a woman not only more beautiful, but also more approachable and more impressive. The softening of the face acts as a filter that clarifies feminine energy. It allows a person's inner grace to be reflected outward in a seamless flow. The expression of neutral grace does not suppress any expression. On the contrary, it brings out the most aesthetic version of every emotion. When a woman adopts this habit, she sees not only a younger, but also a more defined feminine aura when she looks in the mirror. And this aura easily transforms her into an unmistakably powerful, calm, and attractive figure in any environment. 4. Being aware of the sleep position that lifts the face. Now, friends, here's the thing. A significant portion of the signs of premature aging on a woman's face often stems from a habit that no one thinks about: sleep position. To give an example, seemingly minor positions such as sleeping on your side, pressing your face into the pillow, or closing your jaw and tilting your head to the side can, over the years, leave pressure lines, asymmetrical puffiness, and noticeable sagging on one side of the face. Sleep position awareness that lifts the face targets precisely this invisible enemy, a conscious way of resting that prevents facial muscles from tightening throughout the night, supports lymphatic flow, and provides a firmer, more rested facial appearance in the morning. Let's not forget that the secret to a woman waking up to a rejuvenated face in the mirror is often not expensive creams, but this awareness maintained in the quiet of the night. Moreover, the greatest power of this awareness is its collaboration with gravity. The supine sleeping position applies no pressure to any point on the face. Thus, the cheeks, jawline, and eye area remain unpressured throughout the night. This allows the fine tissues of the skin to distribute more evenly, the lymph fluid to flow correctly, and the morning puffiness to remain at a minimum level. Furthermore, the fact that the face is not exposed to the micro wrinkles we call folding throughout the night has a dramatic effect on the youthful appearance in the long term. In fact, this habit is a natural face-shaping method that works silently at night. In addition, the effect of sleeping position on facial muscles is also decisive. Sleeping on your side can create asymmetric pressure, particularly on the jaw and cheek muscles, which over time can make one side of the face appear more saggy or wider. In fact, most women consider this a natural facial difference. However, years of repeated positions are one of the most powerful factors that disrupt the natural symmetry of the face. Sleeping on your back and in a neutral position allows the facial muscles to relax equally throughout the night. This relaxation not only rejuvenates the face, it also allows feminine energy to manifest itself more clearly and radiantly in the morning. I should also add that another important aspect of this habit is that it increases the effectiveness of nighttime skincare. When the face is pressed against the pillow, creams are wiped away, the effect of serums is reduced, and the balance of facial oils is disrupted. Sleeping without touching the pillow, however, allows all care products to work at full capacity throughout the night. This ensures that the skin wakes up brighter, more hydrated, and smoother. Of course, women often attribute the reason their faces look tired in the morning to insufficient care. However, the problem is mostly the position. The correct position is a silent power that transforms care into visible results. Furthermore, sleep position awareness is not just part of a beauty routine. It is also an act of self-respect. A woman who treats her body well feels it both in her skin and in her mind when she wakes up in the morning. This awareness makes the woman's energy softer, calmer, and more focused. The facial expression in the morning sets the emotional rhythm for the entire day. A composed, rested, and evenly balanced face allows a woman to start the day with more strength. This beginning opens the door to the clearest and most powerful form of feminine energy. 5. Knowing the golden hour water consumption tactic that rejuvenates the skin. Before starting this very important point, let me first state that the vitality of a woman's face is not only determined by the products she applies externally, but also by drinking water at the right times during the day. The golden hour tactic is based on drinking water according to the body's natural biological clock, rather than consuming it randomly. Because you can think of it this way, every sip contributes differently to the cell renewal process. Water consumed early in the morning flushes out toxins accumulated overnight. Water consumed at midday replenishes the skin cells' moisture reserves, and water consumed in the late afternoon increases the face's elasticity. This rhythmic consumption pattern creates an invisible but powerful chain of rejuvenation deep within the skin. In fact, the most impressive aspect of this habit is that the effect of water on the skin is managed through timing, not dosage. Many women drink plenty of water during the day, but don't see the radiance they expect in their skin. This is because they drink water at the wrong times. Of course, when the golden hours are applied, water truly reaches the cells, accelerates lymphatic circulation, reduces puffiness in the skin, and makes the under-eye area, in particular, more vibrant. This drinking schedule, divided into hours, allows the skin to gain not just an instant, but a long-term renewal capacity. In fact, there is another truth. Drinking water during golden hours also properly manages facial volume. Consuming too much water at the wrong times can cause puffiness around the eyes and cheeks in the morning. However, water consumed at the right time balances water retention in the face. Facial features appear sharper, cheeks firmer, and the jawline more defined. This is one of the clearest answers to the question modern women ask: why does my face look tired in the morning? Hydration that aligns with the body's biological rhythm during the night is the key to waking up with a more refreshed face in the morning. I would also like to mention that this tactic also helps the skin texture appear smoother. Skin moisture loss doesn't just cause dryness, it also makes wrinkles more noticeable. Golden hour water consumption evenly distributes moisture to the skin layers and fills the skin surface with an inner glow. Of course, this radiance is not an artificial glow created by makeup. It is a natural glow that comes from truly hydrated cells. It is this naturalness that illuminates feminine energy, a vitality that is unobtrusive but undeniable. Looking at it from another angle, the golden hour practice not only enhances physical beauty but also strengthens emotional balance. Water is the body's most calming element. When consumed at the right times, it clears the mind, relaxes the nervous system, and allows women to move with much more harmonious energy throughout the day. Naturally, this is directly reflected in facial expressions. Tension is released, facial expressions soften, and stress-induced stiffness diminishes. Drinking water, in this sense, is not just a habit. It becomes a ritual that cleanses and centers feminine energy. Ultimately, golden hour water consumption provides something that expensive products cannot: an inner glow of youthfulness. When practiced regularly, the face becomes more lifted, the skin more plump, and the energy takes on a more feminine vibration. When a woman embraces the golden hour rhythm, she gains not only a brighter complexion, but also an overall aura that makes her appear unrecognizably fresh and renewed. That's why this tactic is the quiet but most strategic part of beauty routines. 6. Having a makeup skin harmony system that reflects light correctly. Now, friends, What I want to say here is this. The thing that transforms a woman's face the fastest is not heavy makeup. It is correctly managing how light behaves on the surface. A makeup skin harmony system that reflects light correctly is a sophisticated beauty approach where every product applied to the skin is chosen not just to cover, but to direct light. In this system, every step of skincare, every touch of makeup, and every adjustment of moisture balance works toward a single goal: to give the face's contours an aesthetic architecture through light. Makeup applied using this method never looks made up. Instead, the face appears rested, rejuvenated, and naturally radiant. Furthermore, the strongest aspect of this harmony system is the meeting of the skin texture and the makeup on the same note. Some women's makeup doesn't sit on their face because the skin surface and the density of the products reject each other. However, when a properly moisturized, breathable skin is combined with lightweight, light-friendly products, the face gains a flawless radiance, as if under the lights of a film set. This appearance comes not from the product itself, but from the relationship the product establishes with light. This system, which does not absorb light but refracts and reflects it back in the right places, makes the face appear more lifted and younger. Furthermore, at the heart of this system lies the principle of adapting to the face's natural architecture. Areas such as the cheekbones, bridge of the nose, under the eyebrows, and jawline are illuminated with the right amount of light, balancing the face's geometry. Light does not cover flaws, it makes them invisible. While incorrect lighting creates a puffy or swollen effect on the face, the correct light distribution slims and sharpens the face, giving it more feminine lines. That is why this system is actually the most elegant form of facial engineering with makeup. Now, there is also the following situation. The psychological effect of the makeup skin harmony system cannot be ignored. When a woman looks in the mirror with makeup that captures the light correctly, seeing her face looking both fresh and soft deeply boosts her self-confidence. This effect is also reflected in the energy she gives off. When a woman feels beautiful, her steps become calmer, her posture straighter, and her expression clearer. People around her perceive the glow on her face not as a touch of makeup, but as a personal aura. This transformation is one of the most powerful energy boosters that makes a woman stand out in any environment she enters. Of course, this harmony system manages not only lighting, but also shadow. Incorrect shading hardens and ages the face. Correct shading, however, highlights the face's natural contours. Patchy shading done in the same tone as the skin never has a place in this system. Instead, light, almost invisible transitions are used. These transitions optimize the way light travels across the face. The result is a natural beauty that gives the impression of, "I was born this way," while preserving the artistic aspect of the makeup. 7. Practice an evening calm ritual that supports the release of rejuvenating hormones. I want to start with a bitter truth. A woman's skin is renewed more by the biological youth hormones secreted during the night than by external care. However, for these hormones to be effectively activated, the body must reach a certain calmness and the mind a certain stillness. Essentially, the evening calm ritual is practiced precisely for this purpose. It is a transformative process that relaxes the nervous system, puts the body into rejuvenation mode, increases the skin's repair capacity, prepares it for sleep, and brings feminine energy to a soft frequency. The most striking aspect of this ritual is that it is more effective than expensive creams, because a cell that heals from within processes every product you apply externally many times more powerfully. Looking at it from another angle, this ritual is based on activating the parasympathetic system. A body carrying the stress of the day keeps cortisol levels high, which suppresses growth hormone, HGH, melatonin, and cellular repair processes. When a woman begins her evening ritual, she first slows her breathing rhythm, then relaxes her shoulders and puts her body into a state of calm. This micro-transition triggers a drop in cortisol and begins to prepare the ground for a more powerful release of rejuvenation hormones in the early hours of the night. Thus, the skin enters not only a faster, but also a deeper repair cycle. Furthermore, the energetic dimension of the calmness ritual is also decisive. The debates, intense responsibilities, screen light, mental burdens, and fast pace of the outside world that a woman is exposed to throughout the day harden her energy. Hard energy is reflected in facial tension, heavy expressions, and dull skin. The evening ritual, on the other hand, softens energy like silk. Soft lighting, deep breaths, slow movements, perhaps a warm shower or a short stretching routine. All of this allows feminine energy to reach a more fluid and graceful frequency. Let's not forget that this frequency is the invisible architect of the youthful glow seen in the mirror in the morning. In addition, another great secret of this ritual is that it increases the effectiveness of night care products. A calmed nervous system regulates blood circulation. Regular circulation allows serums, masks, or oils to penetrate the skin more effectively. In other words, the ritual is a biological catalyst that makes care products work better. This allows the skin to store deeper moisture throughout the night, increasing cell renewal, so that in the morning the face appears more plump, more firm, and more radiant. Women often think that skincare products don't work, but the real problem is usually not the product, but the hormone-energy balance. In addition, the evening calm ritual rejuvenates not only the skin, but also the mind. Because when the mind is quiet, the body enters youth mode. The mind becoming calm releases tension in the facial muscles. The jaw relaxes, the eyebrows lower, and the eye area relaxes. These micro-relaxations ensure that lines are less pronounced throughout the night. At the same time, because it improves sleep quality, the chances of waking up with bright eyes, fresh skin, and a more rested face increase. Of course, this transformation is the real reason behind the glow effect that no one can fully explain from the outside. As a result, the evening calm ritual, which supports the release of rejuvenation hormones, is the modern woman's secret weapon. When practiced regularly, it fundamentally changes the overall texture of the face, the vibration of energy, and the architecture of youth in the skin over time. Women who adopt this ritual not only look younger when they wake up in the morning, they also carry a calmer, more feminine, and more attractive aura. Because the rejuvenation that begins in the silence of the night manifests itself as a tangible light on the entire face in the morning, a light that makes a person unrecognizably beautiful. 8. Controlled hot shower cold face contact application to revitalize the skin. Now, the critical point in this item is this. One of the fastest ways to revitalize a woman's skin is to consciously combine a hot shower with cold facial contact. The steam and pore opening effect created by the hot water, followed by the tightening and circulation boosting shock of the cold water, together create a rejuvenation mechanism that works like lightning on the skin. Essentially, this dual effect not only makes the skin look brighter, but also helps the facial muscles take on a more toned form. Thus, the radiance plus firmness combination creates an instantly noticeable freshness. The contact of cold water with the face activates the skin's biological alarm system and dramatically accelerates blood flow in the facial area. This sudden change increases oxygen uptake by cells, evens out skin tone, reduces signs of fatigue around the eyes, and creates a micro-toning effect on facial muscles. This technique is a revitalizing trick used by athletes and models before shoots. but it is actually practical enough to be easily integrated into a woman's daily routine. This mini shock created by cold water practically reawakens the face. I would also like to mention that the energetic aspect of this practice is as powerful as its physiological effect. To give an example, the relaxing frequency of hot water softens a woman's energy, while the cleansing frequency of cold water sharpens and clarifies it. The combination of these two opposites elevates feminine energy to a more fluid and clearer level. Therefore, after the ritual, a woman not only looks better, she also feels more alert, focused and alive. This energetic transition is an invisible effect that enhances the face's natural radiance. Ultimately, the controlled hot shower cold face contact is one of the fastest acting and most transformative rituals in skincare. When practiced regularly, the skin becomes brighter, facial contours appear more defined, and the overall aura looks younger. This method provides the instant vitality effect that high-cost skincare products cannot deliver through natural means. Let's not forget that when a woman incorporates this ritual into her life, she not only looks more beautiful, her energy also becomes fresher, more balanced, and unrecognizably revitalized. 9. Possessing the silence feminine energy practice that transforms daily life. Friends, let me say this first. The noise of modern life disturbs not only the ear, but also the deepest layers of feminine energy. The mind constantly tries to keep up with things, the body constantly wanders around on high alert, and facial expressions unconsciously harden. The silence feminine energy practice is one of the rare rituals that cuts through this invisible noise and returns the woman to her own true vibration. The main goal of this practice is not to silence the outside world, but to make the voice of the inner world audible again. When a woman incorporates this silence into her life, her aura calms down without her realizing it. Her energy becomes fluid, and her beauty takes on a natural tone of elegance. Here's the thing. The first effect of the silence practice occurs in the nervous system. Even a few minutes of silence a day strengthens the parasympathetic system, creating relaxation in many areas, from facial muscles to breathing rhythm. Tension in the face is released, the jaw relaxes, and the eyes open up. Of course, these small changes provide a woman with aesthetic renewal, because beauty is not just a physical structure, but a harmony created by the muscles and energy together. Thanks to silence, this harmony is re-established, and the woman unconsciously gains a younger, calmer, and more luminous appearance. As you can see, the energetic dimension of this practice is much deeper. Intense stress, comparison, competition, and constant alertness interrupt the flow of feminine energy. Silence resolves blockages in this flow. It opens energy centers, softens the heart area, and reactivates the power center in the abdomen. This power is not aggressive. On the contrary, it creates a silent but compelling field of attraction. A woman who practices silence is noticeable in her environment even without saying a word. People feel a natural peace around her because her energy is balanced, full, and flows in a feminine rhythm. Additionally, this ritual resensitizes the senses. A mind living in noise cannot distinguish details. Everything comes as a buzz. Silence, however, allows the woman to perceive the world more slowly, more subtly, and more consciously. This new awareness is reflected in the rhythm of her walk, the speed of her speech, the grace of her hand movements, and the micro-expressions on her face. Silence even gives her body language a more feminine flow. In daily life, she develops an aura that is not unapproachable, but attractive, which strengthens both her social relationships and her connection with herself. As many of us might guess, another invisible benefit of silence is its biological effect on the skin. When stress hormones decrease, blood circulation stabilizes, cell renewal accelerates, and the skin's natural radiance returns. Women notice that their faces look more vibrant even without using very expensive skincare products. Because what tires the skin is often not a lack of care, but mental noise. The practice of silence clears this noise, giving the skin a clearer breathing space. That's why women who get used to silence appear more peaceful and younger when viewed from the outside. 10. Have minimal accessories that enhance feminine energy. Before starting this very important point, let me first state that although the accessories a woman wears may appear to be mere decorations from the outside, the energy they carry is actually much deeper. Minimal accessory use is a sophisticated strategy that frames and makes feminine energy visible without suppressing it. Of course, it is also true that large, loud pieces disperse energy, while small but well-chosen accessories focus and intensify it. Thus, a woman creates an aura that is both elegant and impressive. This approach is the most feminine embodiment of the principle, less is more, making space for energy, allowing aesthetics to emerge in its natural state. Essentially, the greatest effect of minimal accessories is that they enhance beauty without interrupting the lines of the face and body. Over-the-top jewelry often distracts attention away from the woman herself, whereas a delicate earring, a dainty necklace, or a light bracelet directs the gaze to the natural crescendo of the face. This makes facial features more defined, the neckline more elegant, and gestures more fluid. There is a proud truth. Minimal accessories do not hide feminine energy. They enhance its visibility. It is a touch that emphasizes rather than adorns the woman. In addition, the use of minimal accessories also carries an energetic discipline. Because when a woman chooses which piece to wear, she unconsciously organizes her own energy field. While large accessories tend to spread energy horizontally, minimal pieces gather energy at the center and elevate it upwards. Naturally, this elevation gives the woman a calm yet powerful sense of presence. People feel more comfortable around her because her energy is organized, clear, and fluid. Let's not forget that a necklace gliding across the chest, like an elegant frame, adds an aesthetic tone to the woman's central energy. I would also like to mention that this approach has a powerful psychological counterpart. A woman who wears minimal accessories feels that she is making conscious choices. This awareness is the most refined form of self-confidence. It creates the image of a woman who manages her accessories rather than being managed by them. This sense of control is reflected in her body language, speech, and posture. The woman appears more organized, calmer, and more elegant. People cannot fully explain this effect, but they say, very chic, very simple, but very impressive. Because simplicity, when used correctly, is the most powerful aesthetic tool. The most explosive aspect of this is that minimal accessory practices also maintain the energetic balance of the face. Delicate earrings, in particular, lift energy upward by preventing weights that pull the face down. This creates a younger, brighter, and livelier facial expression. Women notice that this simplicity even adds lightness to the lines on their faces. A brighter look replaces the tired expression. This choice, which may seem like a small detail, is actually a minimalist architectural movement that redirects all energy. As a result, I can comfortably say that when we embrace minimal accessory use, we actually quietly amplify feminine energy. In other words, we walk a line that represents the beauty of harmony and balance, not excess. You will appreciate that when a woman embraces minimal accessories, she achieves a much more elite look, a much clearer energy field, and a much more recognizable elegance. Let's not forget that this elegance is a power that no one can see directly, but that those around us truly feel. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. take care of yourself, and see you in the next video. Remember, a woman is the person who has the power to change the world. Boldly forge your own path and enjoy every moment.